Stand to my oars and welcome back to another episode of RogueTech as we continue the campaigns of Howl's, Harrows, and last time, well, we cleaved a king crab in twain with but one blow. And he also managed to take out pretty much the rest of that king crab's entire lance. He also wiped out the marauder, the avatar, and just sort of in passing a hatchet man as well. So 4 in basically just a few rounds of combat. Rather impressive, not going to lie. And well, we're attempting to continue this train rolling. We need more salvage, we need more money, so well, I decided to take maximum salvage and hope for good bundles. So with that in mind, forward reservers. Our scouts have observed local government military units covertly surveying military and industrial targets. This increased activity from the planetary government near several priority facilities suggests a strike is coming soon. We're tasking you with intercepting the scout lance, and that's identifying targets and eliminating it before it can report back. This will be a 3 of 13 priority salvage, 365,600 steebles, and 3 skulls of difficulty. So, theoretically, we could run into heavies and even assaults, depending on the specific layout in which they have been set up. We've been dropped on top of a bit of a mountain, which, Sumire, why? Great. I'm not sure if we can get... Oh, yes, we can. We have a bit of a trip ahead of us, assuming... Yes, I think we can get down. It is this map, however, which normally has a base up here, I believe, but there are 2 lances on the scopes. We have, of course, Howl driving our champion, because our Gausswolf is currently in the shop for a little bit of repair. Finn in the Thanatos with its Thumper artillery piece, as well as a Miss Paradox in the Marauder. Jester driving the artillery Mackie. Coach in the Lament. Mockingbird driving the Ragatar, Showboat driving her Axeman, and Death Crusade in the Catapult Mc3. So, with all these people marked out, let's set out on our way. We have a bit of a trip to go as we go around the side, and hopefully we can get off of this gosh darned mountain. No, seriously, why did you drop me up here? So a bit of a trip ahead of us. Unfortunately, I accidentally hit the walk button on that one. Hopefully, we will not do that with the artillery mechs because they're rather slow. The Thanatos, not super bad, but really not as good as it could be. However, on the other hand, the Mackie's incredibly slow, and I can't really say by design, but more by consequence. It is a 100-ton mech, and we had a 300 rate of fusion core that we put into the thing. There's not much we can do about it unless we want to start throwing in 400 rate of fusion cores into the mech, and that, well, things start getting really heavy at that point, and I don't want to put an XL engine into it. We could theoretically put an XL engine into the mech. I mean, there's nothing really stopping us from it, since we managed to avoid doing any sort of torso-mounted weaponry for our heavy guns, but still, it's something of the principle of the thing. Trying to put on a piece of equipment like that into an assault mech at 100 tons that's not really gonna need to ever move fast, because let's be honest, he has a sniper artillery piece for a gosh darn reason, and that's to reach out and touch people, and he does it quite well. So we really don't need much more than that. I'm gonna move the Lament over towards the edge of the mountain, see if we can't see anything, get anything on sensors. We have time, so we may as well take peeks. The Crusade, his catapult, will zip on forward as quickly as we possibly can, because he actually does need to get fairly close to a target. Well, we can sort of rely on the LRMs for a few rounds out of the catapult. It's not really where the focus of that mech lies. When you run a 4 MML-10s, the whole point of it is to get as many SRMs on the field as you possibly can. And being able to shovel, 30 or 40 SRMs down someone's throat really sort of makes a bit of a statement now, don't it? Continue to move everybody with the group. The Axeman could actually activate our mask if we were so inclined. I am less inclined to do so, mainly because I don't really see the main advantage of pulling that off. First of all, if you turn on the mask, you have a chance of failing with the mask, and, well, there are chances that it wouldn't be ready when we actually needed the piece of equipment to be active anyway. So kind of important to keep that sort of thing in the wings. There is an internal combustion engine vehicle right there. Interesting. I may try and drop a couple of shells on top of you. Because why not? See if we actually get a target on sensors. The range is a little bit limited given the distance that we need to cover, but I did notice that that little smoke plume is telling us exactly where we need to be shooting. So we'll drop a sniper shell on top of him, see what ends up happening to it. Maybe we'll get lucky and we'll blow something important up, or maybe we'll activate whatever the next sort of setup is for a reinforcing lance, because that would make a certain amount of sense. Right now we're facing 8 mechs, so it's 8 on 8. However, it could just as easily become 8 on 12. Although I doubt it'll go to 8 on 16. That just doesn't really seem to happen all that often. So rush the Thanatos on forward. And then attack the ground. Is this in range? I don't actually know if this will be in range. We'll find out. And confirm. Roger that. It was. We missed it by 26%, and doesn't appear that we were close enough in order to actually cause any sort of major damage to it. We'll try with Jester. He's got a bigger gun. He's got a much bigger gun. The sniper artillery cannon is, well, I suppose area artillery is probably the best descriptor of it.
Affirmative.
We got pretty gosh darn close to that one, so if we didn't actually cause any damage to it, I'm going to be pretty shocked. So we'll just have to see what it does in the future rounds. Although anything that's internal combustion engine driven, yeah, he's still driving. He has not been stalled by our incoming fire, unfortunately. We'll have to wait a little bit longer in order to pull that off. Although direct line of sight would of course be preferred so that we could just lay in with the mainline guns. We have several mechs that are pretty phenomenally good at direct fire weaponry. Specifically what comes to mind is our Marauder actually should be fairly decent at it. And the other mech that'll be really decent at it is of course the Racketar, which is being driven by Mockingbird because she has Gunnery 10. And well, I've only got a couple of pilots with Gunnery 10. So the Racketar, of course, if I can actually get a line of sight onto a target, is just an absolute nightmare for anybody who thinks that they're going to avoid incoming fire. People like you, actually. Maybe we'll get lucky and we'll just blow him up. Oh, that was nearly dead on. Something exploded onto him, so you either blew off something off the mech, or potentially you damaged a vehicle. I'm willing to bet it's a vehicle, just based purely on the fact that, in general, you don't see very many smoke plumes off of mechs. An internal combustion engine inside a mech itself is generally not common. I can only honestly think of one mech at this point, and it's an urban mech. I am sure there are others out there, especially with the way that certain things in the game work, but honestly, I'd be outright stunned if this actually ended up being a mech. So I think what we're doing is we're currently shelling the crap out of a poor little truck who's trying to get away. Although that poor little truck has managed to survive basically 3 near hits with an artillery piece. So he's clearly doing fairly decently. And there are several, you know, all-up tanks that can actually handle incoming artillery fire pretty well.
I copy.
Oh, that was dead on.
I'm under heavy fire.
So he is actually causing damage because he made the call out that he's under heavy fire, even though he's not. For some reason, that's the line that comes up whenever that occurs. Ooh, is this a very, very narrow way to get through? And we're currently all being blocked by the catapult. I'm gonna guess that's the case and hope that things work out. Because you can get down. Haha, we've identified targets. Yes, we've been bombing the crap out of a Black Knight with an internal combustion engine. Okay, this is a melee Black Knight equipped with a chainsaw, snub-nose PPCs, ER smalls, and a death stare, which is a laser in the head. Yeah, that's not something we want to fight. There's an Ostor as well as a Panther. Oh, it's the Panther who's been taking the internal hits. We got through that armor, and a Hetzer with short-range missiles capability. So not bad. The only thing I can see is that Hetzer, so I may as well just lob as much missile fire over towards him as I can. A decent amount of hits actually off of that one. So Howl can continue to move in as well. Get out of the line of the path, because apparently there is one tile that allows us to make it through this. So we need to keep that very much in mind. We are not in a line of sight to shoot anybody from here, so just keep on moving towards that exit, because that'll be very key into actually getting out of here. I'll try and, you know, lay a couple more shells on top of it, because if I can, I mean, now that I see you, now that I know where you are, fire. Oh, we're getting good hits on that Panther. That poor little Panther. He really doesn't stand much of a chance. Did I actually blow anything off of this Panther? Not yet, but we're getting there.
Yes, Commander.
The Marauder will not be able to do that, and the Marauder can actually get stuck in the area, so we'll not move him there just yet. Instead, we'll rush the Axeman on through real quick to make sure you know that nobody really gets stuck as to where we're going. Paradox can... I don't want to get you stuck. See, that's the key problem I have here, is I don't want to move it in such a position as I wouldn't be able to get anybody else through. So I'll move him slightly to the side. We'll sacrifice some movement. Panther deciding that it wants to move back on into the fight. So good job, brave little Panther. Best of luck to you, and I think you're gonna die. If I do that, you will also be blocking everybody. So we'll place you in a position to prepare to move for the next turn, so that hopefully we can continue to just filter mechs on through without worrying too much. Ostor turning around, the Black Knight as well. The Black Knight I still have a decent line of sight on. purely because he decided to have an internal combustion engine on his mech, so I may hit the Panther as well.
Locked on.
That may have been close enough. He is firing mortars, which is a much smaller shell, of course, than the artillery. Oh, he's not really firing mortars. It is the Thumper artillery piece after all. And there is a specific piece of equipment called the mech mortar in this game, so I really can't say that. Hetzer moving on a little bit closer, trying to be as aggressive as he can. Coach. This is... Yes, Coach will be able to make it through. Good. So we'll get the Lament on through and avoid the traffic jam. The champion can just sort of rush right on in here, I think. We are going to have to move sort of down this cliff, which is a little less than ideal. No lines of sight, of course, because we still haven't quite gotten there. And the sensors are being somewhat unreliable. More shelling, if you don't mind, please, sir. And I'd like you to lay it on top of him. Oh, he doesn't have a direct line of sight on it. Okay, in that case, we'll sprint first and then we'll shoot. Because we don't have to, you know, wait that long.
Aye, aye.
Now we're facing the right direction. Attack the ground. Target him. Oh, dead on. Beautiful.
Reporting. Minimal damage. Commander.
It's minimal, but it's continuous, and that's kind of the point. You will deal enough damage eventually in order to completely wipe him out. So we'll rush far forward. We'll be super aggressive about it. So we've re-identified targets. The Black Knight, yeah, definitely taking a couple of rough hits. The Panther, definitely lagging behind in order to evade incoming damage. We've also got a Vulcan and a Grasshopper, so a couple of heavies here as well. And I'm tempted to shoot at you just because your forward armor is almost open. I could hurt the Panther, though. Just a couple of hits in here could actually set off some ammunition. He does have case, though. Still an ammunition explosion.
Target acquired.
So give him some direct fire LRMs. It's kind of hoping to do a little bit more, but hey, we'll take what we can get.
Inflicted some heavy damage.
And our MML has managed to unjam, so that will hopefully have more of them. Vulcans coming aboard. I like Vulcans, but they're 45 tonners and they're not worth keeping. Or 40 tonners, maybe? Unfortunately, they are just a little bit too light for what it is we normally do. There's too many dangers for us to sort of handle them at quite that light. Really, we're sort of scraping it a little bit with the 55 tonner that we have as our catapult. Alright, so the catapult being shot from a PPC. Not able to connect to the catapult is quite evasive at the moment. It has its own point defense systems, as well as ECM, and the ECM is probably critical in this one. We keep the range long, and that way we get to be super aggressive. So here we are coming finally down the mountain, giving up our massive advantage in altitude. Okay, Ostwar equipped with quite a few missiles. Starting any fires? Okay, good. So 20 shots from the Ostwar. That was actually rather surprising to me. I was not expecting an Ostwar to be carrying, well, any form of long-range weaponry like that. Well, large lasers is what I was expecting, but that was clearly not the case. Gas rifle into the Hetzer. Didn't pop him, but did manage to tear away his entire armor section. I'm hoping that was the front, just because that'll... Oh, no, it was the side. If it had hit his front, it actually would have penetrated and did quite a bit of damage. In fact, that probably could have killed him. Black Knight coming up forward. Large laser, PPCs, not able to connect. Feeling pretty fine about that one. Catapult's going to draw fire like it's nobody's business. Jester, you're a Mackie. 99%. It's time to shape charge this one. So, Warlord, shape charge, 124 damage. We can eliminate somebody. Well, maybe not this, but... I was really hoping for a head hit, but I'll take it.
Solid connection on that one.
Because if he had head hit, you know, it would be instantaneous death. We'll move directly forward. I don't know if I'm actually going to bring the Mackie down from his hill. He's in a really good position to just lay on fire. Okay, Centurion as well in the back. Hetzer SRM, I do want to make sure that it doesn't get too close to me. It is a dangerous unit at the end of the day, because it does have so many SRMs. And if he's got multiple types of SRMs, it could get even worse really quickly. So I just want to make sure we don't run too badly into that. That'll work. You can stand right in the middle. That'll kill the Hetzer. I don't want to kill the Black Knight because I want to steal the Black Knight. That could potentially kill you. Yeah, the Othsword just had total penetration on that one. Almost blew his arm clean off. Alright, let's kill you.
Here we go.
There we go. Blew him into little tiny smithereens. The parts of that now strewn across. There goes the main hull. From here to... Oof, quite the distance traveled on that one. Alright, let's bring the Thanatos on forward as well. Because the Thanatos has artillery, and artillery can hurt really badly. Oh, 85. I'm going to shape charge that one. Pop. Didn't quite actually pop him. So,
That hit something.
a little bit too aggressive on that one, I suppose. Because he didn't actually explode. However, he did lose his PPC. And so if he doesn't have a PPC anymore, who cares, right? Okay, let's rush on in over to the side a bit.
Let's move.
Staying in some cover. Taking aim. Really good chance, however. I'm switching over to the SRMs so that we can start getting some Infernos on the field. And yeah, it's a bit long range for Infernos. But we're going to get this party started. Plus 50 heat just with 2 of them. Hopefully most of these will unjam because I need to actually hit them with, you know, a big salvo of missiles. Alright, looks like all of his missiles are not working. A whole bunch of medium lasers towards the catapult, but nothing really stuck on that one. A single hit, and we can handle that. There is a sufficient amount of armor to continue to engage. The Rakkatar can move up and can get some good damage. However, I'm going to move the champion first, mainly so that the champion can sort of be a little bit closer to the catapult to provide some extra fire support, also to, well, get out of the way. That would probably be the big one. Unfortunately, no really good shots on that one, so we will hold off on that. And a Strider off to the side. Striders are fairly small and, in my opinion, kind of pathetic mechs, so I'm not all that worried about it. 4 missiles that would have hit him shot down. The Rakkatar, we need to get out of this sort of jungle, so it's not shooting through people. Unfortunately, I don't really trust the Rakkatar. You know what? I think I actually trust that. You know what? Yeah, we'll triple tap. Good job. I wanted to be extra careful and not shoot my own people in the back, because shooting your friends in the back tends to lead to expensive repairs that we otherwise don't want to take. So we've removed the Panther entirely from the engagement, which is not exactly huge. It had already lost its cannon, so without that PPC, was it really worth it? Oh wow, that was a lot of shots from an autocannon. Is somebody packing a Racken mech? Maybe. Oh, we got a Manicore up here. And a Hunter. I suppose the Centurion might have a rack.
Waiting on you, Commander.
We'll have to find out. Unfortunately, a fire has started, which is less than ideal for us, because a fire started on our side means that we're going to have heat problems, and I don't want to have to deal with that, especially not since I'm still fighting. There is reinforcements on the field already. It looks like there is a Scout Lance, a Support Lance, so it is 12 on 8, but I think we can handle it. We're still expecting more to show up, but we already have 50% of the reinforcements removed already, so there is that running for us. Ow! Nailing us with that big pulse weapon. Actually, oh no, that must have been Death Stare. Ew. He gained 15 heat because he decided to stand in the middle of the fire like an absolute idiot. I will go, you know what, there. We'll see what the obstructed shots can give me. That's really good. That's less good. It's potential. Let's go for potential.
Here you go.
Oh, so close. Split between the 2 mechs. It would have been so lovely if it manages to hit one of them. So even with a miss, it would have potentially have hit that Vulcan. And that Vulcan is still, it's a 40-45 ton mech. It's not going to survive many Gauss rifle hits to the face. That tends to be very, very bad. But close enough. Would have been better if it actually hit something. Ostwar still has an LRM-15, which is of course quite dangerous. However, we are starting to get our point defense sort of assembled in support. So 18 of 20 knocked out from that one without any trouble at all. The Mackie just from up here, it's 99, 91. Give him more love. A solid critical hit and an engine crit. Are you packing an XL? I'm just gonna sit right up here. I'm happy with it. If I'm just laying down heavy barrages, I'm perfectly okay to leave the Mackie in back. Yes, it's a 100-ton assault mech. Yes, it has a lot of armor, but you know what? Its job here is mostly to artillery, and that's what it's doing quite nicely from out there. So I'm not going to mess with it. I'm going to give it the high ground bonuses that it deserves, so we can just continue to shell. Down to phase 12. Who else is left to move? Oh, a light rocket carrier. That's interesting. Go and fire the catapult. Trying to start more fires around us, no doubt. Fires that we very much wish to avoid. 4 of 35 hit by AMS. And then we've got our Hunter with even more missiles. I think they're trying to cook the catapult, utilizing its own AMS, which is not necessarily a bad strategy. So, Death Crusade, how's your heat? Not bad at all. Okay, we can handle this. So I'm just going to sort of run forward. I think I should... This... It's not too aggressive, is it? Let's do this. A little bit closer. Slightly closer. I said slightly closer. I have to run right up here if I want it. And I do kind of want it. This will shut him off entirely. It also gives us our jammers active. So we switch over to SRMs. Inferno's on all. And he's just going to be in the center of his own great little barbecue. I don't care. Oh my god, you only did 170 and you didn't actually shut him down. Wow. That's actually really impressive on the part. Alright, let's get all the support mechs forward then, because we have some fighting to do.
Roger.
Okay, Black Knight no, because we're trying to steal for... Ostwar is vulnerable. Grasshopper's too far back. So yeah, we'll fight the Ostwar. I will Warlord it just for the get a little bit more accuracy on that heavy Gauss rifle. Oh, just tore him apart. Heavy Gauss rifles, baby.
Ready to get
Finn
on.
in back with the Thanatos. Who you got? Got 97 of the Black Knight. You got a 16... Or no, an 89. 97 of the Grasshopper. And the Strider is a 99%. Yeah, supercharge.
Engaging.
He's a very light mech. It is not a heavy mech at all. It is... I think it's like a 40 tonner. So again, it's not the sort of mech that you expect is going to survive a whole heck of a lot of fire. Getting more people in front just in order to sort of add their ECM coverage to the game. Try not to hit the Axeman in the face. I think you hit the Axeman in the face twice.
Inflicted some nasty on that some bitch.
Let's go check.
Nice. That hit hard.
Yeah, he hit us with our own. I was being a little bit overly aggressive, I suppose. I just wanted to make the hit because I thought it would be really cool. Ended up not being necessarily the most brilliant plan ever, but hey, the Axeman has armor for a reason. Could kill the Vulcan. In fact, I think I'm gonna invest in that Vulcan. Not gonna utilize the tag barrage. Actually, no, perfect idea. Utilize the tag barrage. I think I'm outside of range. Yeah, fire away.
Copy that.
Oh, immediately tore off his left arm. And okay, so we did get hit by the tag barrage, but we did shut him down. So we've shut off the Black Knight, and the Black Knight is a dangerous target. So shutting it off, huge bonus to us. However, I do think we have lost line of sight on that Strider. At least I can't shoot him. Hi, you are not covered. I think I've got the high ground on this one, so I'm going to actually rack it up to knock down this Vulcan. I know it's a bit overkill here, but there goes a Vulcan.
Target down.
So we're sort of knifing our way through pretty well. The Grasshopper will also be a good pickup to steal. I just want the Black Knight first because the Black Knight is heaviest. I know, that's a very seemingly simple and straightforward way of dealing with things.
Yes, Commander.
Jester, you're Mackie. Right, Strider dead if you shoot it. Grasshopper we want to keep. You do have a rotary autocannon. Okay. Okay. That's cool.
Engaging with target.
I keep hoping for a headshot.
Critical
Just
hit,
to
Commander.
immediately remove somebody from the equation with a headshot seems like exactly what I want to do. Getting a little bit more high ground.
Commander?
Okay, you need to shed some stability problems, which I will just use a little bit of vigilance for. You're not in high spirits, but you didn't sacrifice as much as I thought you would. That's fine. Run forward.
Moving fast.
We're not in a position yet to just go pure crazy. So the way we kind of use the Axeman now, the way our tactics have developed since the disastrous attempt that we used the Axeman the first time, is that it's really an AMS carrier for the most part. We keep it around to provide protection to the faster forward scouts because in general they have some weaknesses in that realm. And by keeping it forward with them and aggressive, it'll be in a position to follow up on any sort of opening that they create. And in the meantime, it's just doing the full AMS job. If the God, what's it called? If the medium lasers didn't give me any sort of additional bonus, I would consider even removing those for even more AMS, because I think it might be that useful. One of the things I also do kind of plan on doing is that if we ever get another pirate laser AMS, I will mount it onto this mech. Absolutely. Gonna have to be a little bit careful with it, because it does jam, but it would be a huge pickup even if we just kept it in the normal, purely because of how huge the radius that it creates for its AMS bubble. It's just absolutely phenomenal. Alright, Coach, in the Lament. I mean, I could, but no. Yeah, let's kill you. Or hopefully kill you. Missed all 3 times despite a 50%. So he was supposed to hit at least one. And that was actually really annoying. So the Lament totally whiffed its turn, which is unfortunate. The Champion, on the other hand, will the Champion whiff its turn? These are the difficult questions we must ask ourselves. We're going to rush on in here. And beautiful shots, of course, we're not taking them. Don't want to take that one. Don't want to take that one. Well, I should kind of don't mind taking that one. Fire. Hey, you never know. We might get something. Showboat is an axe range, which obviously we don't want to do. You. Yeah, give it another supercharge. It's not supercharge, it's shape charge, but it reminds me of Company of Heroes. Supercharge, supercharge, supercharge! When you're playing with the Canadian artillery. My voice is a little bit shot right now, unfortunately, so I can't quite give it proper justice. But it is so much fun. Alright, so since that's not going to be a thing that we're going to take care of anytime soon, and since we're going to be in the middle of the heat, let's just run right on through.
Got it.
We'll give you a little bit of vigilance, just in case they want to shoot at you, because you're kind of out there. You're a big target, and they like to shoot at big targets. Death Crusade, please do us the favor of shutting him off completely. He didn't bail, which is really disappointing, actually. You're going to continue to move on forward, and hopefully you'll be able to avoid the fire from spreading at that point to where it'll, you know, kill everything. Nope, spread forward. There we go. Gives me multiple targets now. You're an easy target, you're a good target, and you are also a great target. Oh, all three of them are actually pretty good targets. Strider's almost dead, and therefore not worth my time. So we'll fire at the Hunter. And kill the Hunter immediately. Completely melted by Rack 5s. I've been trying to make the argument that the Rack 5 needs to be buffed back to where it originally was. I've mentioned this many times, but I figure I mentioned it again, and I've discussed it. Now, the argument that I hear against it is that Racks were too powerful when they were on weight, and my argument to counter that is Racks are only powerful if you manage to get proper positioning, because a Rack firing frontally at a target is going to scatter damage all across the mech, and so you're really not going to have as good of a result as you kind of think that you will. So I think that it's perfectly reasonable to give us back the full charge and might of the Rack at the proper tonnage, and sort of see where that goes, because honestly, oh, I thought for a second he had missed. He did not. Just the Mackie, the ultimate death machine.
Enemy down.
Because it's honestly not an optimal setup. It only is great and amazing if you can get to the side, because in other circumstances, Gauss rifles, they've got longer range, they do higher pinpoint, they have a better through armor critical. Like, there are other weapon systems that do the job better in a straight frontal brawl. So, and I actually made this comment on our Discord, which, by the way, check down below for a link if you want to join in on things like this, that if I were to make a 9010 assault mech with 4 guns,
How's it going?
honestly, I was describing our Gaussler from our Clan-Tech campaign, I would still prefer to utilize 4 Gauss rifles over 4 racks, and the reason would be because when you're in the assault range on mechs, you really need to start dealing a lot more of your frontal pinpoint in order to make sure that you have the ability. How good your armor? Survives. Okay. Blow us out of, please. Thank you. Because you're in a slower assault mech, it's going to take you longer to actually get into the fight, and your positioning is not going to be able to be as good. You're not going to be able to necessarily easily get those side angle shots, and so the Gauss rifle gives you a little bit more utility in that realm, because the Gauss rifle can punch big holes through the front torso. Yes, you're sacrificing raw damage for sure, but if that raw damage is spread across every single torso location, reducing that effectiveness, how super useful was it? And I would argue less useful. 114 rockets just came our way, luckily for us. They didn't all hit, so there is going to be some interesting repair times on that one. Oh, somebody's dropping artillery on me.
Took a heavy hit
How?
there.
Light rocket carrier is packing normal rockets. Grasshopper does not have anything like that. The Manticore does not have anything like that. Who did that to me? Who just laid... Is it a tag barrage? No. There are 4 things still left on this field. It was none of you. Okay, who is this? We have an artillery carrier, perhaps a TBM carrier over there off to the corner.
Waiting for orders.
That's less than ideal. Okay, we'll rush in to handle it. Give me a sensor lock so I can start laying down some counter battery. It's all I desire and need, and give this guy some love. Thank you. It's always nice when the heavy gas rifle actually hits something. It's a very swingy weapon. If it hits, that's 150 damage to the face, and that is supreme. The counter argument I've also heard is that, oh well, you see, if you want a rack at proper weight, use the L-racks. But I think we can all properly agree, the L-racks are unmitigated garbage. They are completely trash in this game, and I wouldn't utilize them for anything. Since I like the Manticore. Yeah, totally unusable in my book. I don't think they're very good at all. So I wouldn't bother using them.
Firing on target.
Okay, a little bit hit on the Manticore. I think we're gonna have Showboat
Commander?
overload her AMS because I want to make sure that she's never in a situation where she doesn't have her protections active and ready to go. We will also rush her into the water.
Right, Commander.
Did you get a line of sight on anything? There you are. We found you, buddy. Oh, you're not getting away. I don't know if you realize this, but now that we have identified the target, we can start dealing with the target. I will see what sort of accuracy shot I can get on this one. You will also overload your laser AMS. It's not good, but you know what? It's a start. So we're going to light you on all the fire, buddy. Lament needs to avoid as much fire as possible because Lament is a little bit of a toasty mech. Oh, just outside of range. If I had turned into him, I might have actually gotten that shot. 40%, lock it down. Hey, we got a hit and a penetration through that armor. That penetration is the key here because now frag damage will start to make an appearance. That's the Grasshopper, right? Oh no, it's the Manticore. Okay, good. I will take that move then. Operating a maximum range. And cutting through his armor because it was low armor and because vehicles have fewer armor locations to scatter onto. Lovely. So the Manticore is down. We just have the TBM carrier now, as well as the Grasshopper, who obviously wants us to remember his name. So we shall. And he's going to move forward, perhaps? Oh, he's cooking. He's cooking. Yeah, we're going to shut you down, buddy.
What's up, boss?
I don't know if you know this, but you're on the chopping block to be turned off. No, a little bit better. We'll warlord it, see if we can't manage to get that accuracy guaranteed.
Acknowledge.
Missed by 21%. Not terrible. I mean,
Negative damage.
pretty bad, but
Negative
less than a quarter.
Waiting for orders.
All right, Jester. 99-1. Let's see why. So, gunnery 10. This is a 90% accuracy. Arm mount, -1. Height, -9. 180% accuracy pretty much at this point. Plus another -2 for being fired and -2 for distance. Which is, oh yeah, because we have a sensor tracker on board, which gives us +2 accuracy at range. And then we're +4 for long range, +1 for terrain for 5, 7 for the target terrain, 13 in total. Which is completely negated by mostly by our height mount. So we just maintain perfect accuracy. This is lovely. Warlord, give him the full shape charge round from the sniper. This mountain is glorious. Oh, just the way that worked. Counter battery, perfect.
Good to go.
I'm so happy how that worked. It's like, I love the fact that I now actually have counter battery to work with. It is just the best thing. Kind of don't want to hit the Axeman back. But you know what? We're going to do it. You know why? Because our target's up there, and I need to lay down more heat on him. So we're going to turn on all of our MMLs. I'm going to sensor lock him for a little bit of improvement. Buddy, you ain't getting away from me. You're going to join my collection. And another 75 heat. Are all your MMLs available? They are in the next round. Lovely. The champion obviously not going to shoot him because I don't want you to.
Understood.
I don't want you to. God, what would be the word? Take damage or damage him? Yes, I don't want you damaging the goods. Pretty much. We go over here. Now that we've dealt with all of the potential threats, If I want to, I have the ability to basically annihilate this Grasshopper in more or less one blow. We know already for a fact that Showboat can kill anything it wants.
Copy that.
If I had Inferno ammo, I would love to use it right now. I need to find some Inferno ammo, specifically so I can, for situations like this. Really, I need a second burner mech. I absolutely have to build one. I just need the time to do it.
Receiving you.
I also need the mech to do it. That's going to be the other part. So the Tag Barrage is going to be ready in another 2 turns. Unfortunately, by that point, I'm going to be basically on top of him. If he decides he wants to be super aggressive and start firing PPCs around, if he doesn't have a double heatsink, he's just cooked himself. Because he just ran through a lot of fire. Yep, shut himself down. What a fool. So he turned himself off. Jester, in the Mackie. Aim for his head. Give him a shell. Fire. Didn't quite do what I wanted. But he can't be having a good day after that. I refuse to believe his day is good. Coach, your lament. Let's just get you in close enough and start laying down sensor locks to make sure that nobody else loses you. Because it's happened to us before. Oh yeah, that hit center torso hard. Howl? Yeah, Howl's not going to participate in this. Howl happens to be equipped with a weapon system that if it fires, absolutely annihilates whatever it hits. If that's a head, that's great, but it can't be guaranteed. So a little bit of fire, 185 heat. He did not find that to be sufficient, a sufficient amount of encouragement. I will drop another one of the. How much health do you have on your head? You have 33 plus 16 is 49. I will do 60 damage.
Taking the shot.
Perfect. Dropped artillery right on his head and blew it off. Lovely. So that's 2 full mechs currently sitting on the ground, 70 and 75 tonner. Or was it a 70? Yeah, it's a Black Knight, 75 tonner. So not bad at all for a pickup. We're not going to keep either. Well, we could get the Black Knight, because the Black Knight would give us the base of a burner. Rakatar picking up 4 kills on that one. The artillery picking up, where is it? Thanatos picked up 1. That, of course, being the headshot on that. And 3 kills on the Mackie. Lovely. I'm adoring my artillery. Their ability to just reach out and touch whatever they want. And they bundled them well. I really don't think there was anything on the field that I would want. Like I said, light rotors they're hot garbage. It does 10 damage a hit. Maximum of 60 damage. You're spending 8 tons to do what is essentially a 12-ton gun, except scattered all over the mech. I mean, light rotors are absolute garbage. Medium-heavy clans. Don't really need them. I don't really use medium heavies for a couple of reasons. I love these PPCs, but I'm not going to. Combat Shield Large. Oh, lovely pickup, not gonna lie. And some interesting cores. The 300 rated, obviously, we would probably want. The light engine we would love to have. But again, I kind of need to grab the whole thing. Maybe we'll get really lucky and we'll get both of them. Oh, a torso mount cockpit. Oh, I've always wanted one of these. Because what the torso mount cockpit is basically puts your cockpit in the torso and just puts sensor systems up in the head, which means you've really heavily armored your torso, but if you lose the center torso, you blow up the entire thing. So, a little bit of a mixed bag there, but I really do like it. Log it in. We also got the Vulcan and the Strider part, and we picked up pair of PPCs. Hey, we got both of the snubs. Awesome. That puts us up to 5 snub-nose PPCs. We also got the light engine and the torso mount. Oh, yes. I love it. Oh, the torso mount cockpit. Right, if you blow that... Wait, It shouldn't be that way. Unless that actually goes in the torso. We shouldn't have been able to kill that Black Knight the way we did, because that Black Knight I am 80% positive had a torso mount cockpit, and blowing off the head of a mech with a torso mount cockpit doesn't kill it. It just, I believe it doesn't kill it. I believe it just gives you all kinds of negatives to being able to hit people, because now you have to use your backup sensors. Because you lose all of the actual firepower up top. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it just preserves your pilot from getting actually killed. But there's all kinds of ejection systems for that. So 37,611 for the next 8 days is not bad. So we made some decent cash on that one. I mean, it's not amazing for what we do, but Gaswolf is still 15 days out. Yeah, our rebuild queue is still pretty high, but the Axeman, that was mostly my fault with the Axeman shooting it in the shoulder. That'll be 6 days away. We are 11 days away from the end of the month, which means we will be able to get another mission in before said end of the month. But first things first, we need to head on down to our mecha bay and go to our storage. We're going to sell the Vulcan part for 98,800 Seabills and the Strider part for 132,400 or 143 or something like that. The Black Knight will fix. The reason why you always want to build your Black Knight is because, well, just build any mech that you have free parts for, if it's free, is because it will always come with pieces on board. And you can then, if you're going to sell a mech and you manage to get all 5 parts of it, it'll always have something left. Now this one happened to kind of suck, but, I mean, you still picked up some stuff. Theoretically, we could have had the entire set of torso come up. So there's that. Right, I just want to see what that torso mount cockpit does, because I don't actually have a clue. It's not the location for it. Okay, so I'm probably going to need to actually put in a core, just a placeholder. Not actually going to utilize it. I should put in a 340. So the 340 makes me go 9.5. The 300 makes me go 5.8. So I'm picking up basically a 1 point of sprint. So I wouldn't want to build this way anyway. But if I were to then go to cockpit, torso mount cockpit. Oh, look at that. It takes the entire cockpit out of that. Oh, that's pretty cool. So if the cockpit is destroyed here, right. And then you just have your sensors basic and your fire control. Again, we shouldn't then have been able to kill this mech by blowing off its head. The head is basically kind of a meaningless component at this point. Sensor table, only visual acquisition, sensors basic. Only visual acquisition. Yeah. This mech has 8 hard points for energy. That's pretty good. Oh, and the life support goes inside torsos. Oh, cool. Probably wouldn't do that. I don't have a death stare anyway, so I probably wouldn't do that. But what we could do, I mean, theoretically, just a quick theoretical build. Clan XL engine, because I like them so much. We would, of course, need a very big kit. I do still have a radical heatsink kit, which I think I'll need. I do have normal heatsink doubles. We'll put that in for now. We're going to need as much weight saving as possible. So we're going to need to throw in an XL gyro, but it's my last one, so maybe I don't want to do that, but that's neither here nor there. This is a theoretical build. So up to 32 tons. Pull this off. Pull this off. Pull this off. We have 36 tons, and we haven't even pulled in the armor. If we pull in the armor, we're at 37 tons. So Pharaoh ain't giving me all that much. But the weapon that we would be utilizing would be... not the Snubnose PPC. They're tempting, but no, not the Snubs. Plasma cannons. Would I want to do that? I mean, what would be really cool is if I could do this. Can you imagine it? Imagine the firepower at our disposal. If I were to go hard in Pharaoh, how much would I have? It's not quite enough ammunition to make that work, I don't think. Do I have double tons? I have a single double ton. Okay, so I would need that much. So where would I get 2.71 tons? I don't think I can shed that much armor. It's just a bit too much for me. Put the double plasma ammo. Like that. That way we spread it out a bit more. This material 3. Oh, I'm just short on slots, period. Right, I don't think I can make it work. Like, it'd be really, really cool, not gonna lie. I think this would be awesome. Double ton gives me how much? 25 shots. So 2 double tons. Yeah, I really just gonna need... well, 2 double tons and a 1. So really I'm looking at 1.17 or 1.71 tons. But this doesn't have anything else in it. That kind of makes it not really all that useful to me then, does it? Right, there's just not quite enough here. Because that would give me, if this were a double ton, if this plasma right here, these 2 tons were a double ton, that would give me 25, 25, and 10, which is enough to run these guns for 10 rounds. I could slow it down. The mech does actually have pretty decent range. So give me engine heatsink, engine core, throw in 300. That gives me enough tonnage. Of course, the thing we mount onto it now is we go with a warfare suite that maxes out my locations, but does give me, the powerful ECM defense that I would need. My heat efficiency on this thing is 180 for 60 though. And that's just not gonna work. There's no universe where that works. So that can't be there. Put that in the head. We would absolutely need an exchanger, and we would need more heat control than that. I would need a big exchanger, an exchanger plus. Puts me at a heat control of 69 for 144. That's still not good enough. Could I make it work with a prototype double heatsink kit? I don't think so. And the reason why I don't think so is because the prototype double heatsink kit really kind of only works if you have a lot of external slots. I don't think that heat bar is a lie. It's 60 for 143. I've only got 3 slots open. So I would have to do... where is it? Prototype double, and prototype double. And at that point, I'm at 135 for 72. I got a little bit better heat sinking, but I'm still in the hole by 53, which is not good enough. How many would I need in order to make this thing useful? Oh, I can't. I'm just flat out stopped. And I really can't afford to pull anything off of this mech. I'm doing a 5.8 right now. If I drop down to a 280 for core, I'm doing a 5.8. Okay. If I go down to a 275, I have a 5.8. If I go down to a 270, I have an 8.4. Right. So 275 would be our minimum here. Unfortunately, I'm still short because it's a space issue at this point. It is not a... So I have 2.25 tons in the gyro. If I pulled it out, I wouldn't have the... I don't think it's quite possible with that. I'd love to do it. I really would. But I don't quite think it's possible. How much do I lose if I go down to Ferro normal? I'm on tonnage. If I were able to cram in another prototype double, that'll put me at... So at what point do I need to get to make this work? It's still too hot. And that would put me out of prototype double heatsinks anyway, and that would be 88 for 114. I'm still out by 26. That's just not good enough. If I were to go full nuts and through an exchanger plus, that puts me at... Yeah, that... I'd drop one of these. 93 for 95. 89 for 99. I can make that work. But we're 4.5 tons in the hole. And we're already using a Clan XL. We'd need a double XL at the very least. And I refuse to use such a piece of equipment. So it's close. It comes really close, actually. So close. We're just barely underweight to being able to cram all this together. But something like this would just be hilariously good. Now, the reason why I lean into doing something like this on this build, rather than, something far, far more reasonable than this, And this temperature also would, you know, sacrifice a whole bunch. I mean, I'm 89 for 66. I don't need this. In fact, I can probably get away with doing this. Yeah, watch the magic. Well, maybe not the magic. Pull that entirely. Put in normal heatsink double. I am at... Okay, so the prototype double heatsink kit would be preferred. And then, of course, we need to buff this back up to a big engine. Because it needs to be reasonably fast. This puts me at the 9.5. And the 300 puts me at the 5.8. Yep, so I will go up to the 300. I will throw in, if I've got it. Is it this mount? I think it's a equipment mount, not a location mount. Yeah, I don't have mask. I don't think I do. Combat shield large for a little bit of extra damage reduction, because we can. I've got hands melees, but I don't want to use them. This is not really a melee mech. At least it shouldn't be anyway. A little disappointing I don't have mask. That'd be extra fun. I need energy targeting system for the plus accuracy. This puts my heat up to... Yeah, 69 for 96 is too high. Or a flak. Flak might be better. Plus 2 evasion ignore. And then we would give it a... Armored Call is interesting, but I would probably go with a comm suite. Because the comm suite gives me an additional tactics and resolve. In fact, I'd go with the good comm suite because I've got it. I've got 2 of them. And then the sensor system, we would, of course, Gunnery B. Throw it in there. Oh, that'd be so cool. That might be really good. So our heat efficiency obviously isn't what we're looking for. We need something better. The arc sheath beacon is actually going to take care of that, and what I can then do with that is I can throw in... Oh, the chameleon takes the place of it. Interesting. Well, the chameleon also probably takes the place of that, so I can't quite do that. Do I have any other stealth systems? I have a null sig. There we go. What's the difference between our null sig and our chameleon? Chameleon is plus 20, whereas this one is... doesn't affect sight at all. So the chameleon is visible. And electronic powers grants a 2 ECM bubble. What's this one? 2 ECM bubble, okay. 2 active probe. So it'd be probably ECM jammer sensor checked by 5 in range. Holy shoot. What's your jammer? 2. Oh, baby. Can I cram that in there? It needs 3 spaces. So obviously I can't have that. And the gyro kind of needs to come out. And the chameleon weighs weight as well. I may have to bust out the ultralight gyro. Which actually gives me, I think, even more tonnage. So this would stealth me to absolute max, which would be really cool. We've got the damage reduction on here, and we've also got the chameleon on here, which that's pretty hilarious. Although chameleon doesn't necessarily work great with something that's being super mobile, because every 4 tiles you lose a little bit of your defense, I think. Where was it? 4 mimetic stealth charges decays with movement. Yeah, 1 charge per hex. God, that seems so interesting. I mean, then we would need to throw on a proper sensor suite. Because I'd love it, but we would actually need some sensors here. Recon? Maybe even a sensor's range. What's the recon counter to jamming? 1 sniper. Second bonus of 2. And the range, none at all. So we throw in this sniper sensor. Then we have a full more ton to go. And this is where I might lean into the other heatsink kit. She had a little bit of armor. Nothing too serious, but some. because I would want, of course, I would want to see if I could make this then work. Change out the kit from a double to the Radical Proto. Press me to move the exchanger out of here. Put in the head for now. So Radical Prototype double heatsink. Huge heatsink recovery on that one. And then we come to here, scroll down, prototype double, prototype double. And at that point, the exchanger does fit. Oh yeah, because it takes the internal engine heat core slot. This brings us to a heat efficiency of 77 for 75. It's really not all that great, if I'm honest. It only has the ability to put on 270 plus 80. 150. Yeah, 150 heat onto a target instead of, you know, the full 200 that you would kind of want. But it's definitely interesting. I may keep it. I may hold on to it for a little bit. I'm not quite sure what I want to do with it. It's definitely... I mean, it's a Black Knight, which is always pretty cool. But it would be expensive to keep with us. If I were to just go with a flat-out repair without doing anything to it, how much would that be? Oh, 600,000 C-bills. That's a bit rough. I'll think about it. We have a couple of more, well, we have at least one more mission we're going to be able to get in before the end of the month. So, we are building several mechs at the time, but I do not have another burner mech, and I really need something. Something nimble, something that can probably mix plasma and flamers, just in order to get some damage down. I'm not quite sure what. But we'll have to figure that out in the near future. Anyway, that's going to do it for today's episode, folks. I've been Tyrak. If you like what you're seeing, hit that like button and subscribe if you want to see a notification every single time I post one of these videos. Press that little bell icon, leave a comment. Make sure you join us for our streams on Wednesdays, Saturdays, and Fridays. On Wednesdays and Saturdays, we play Apollo's Vipers, the clan-starred version of this campaign with their undying Fafnir. And on Fridays, we play MechWarrior 5 with members of our community. We are now in the post-game. We have finished the mainline campaign and are just sort of going around having fun with our UAC Annihilator, which, if that sounds at all interesting to you, make sure you swing on by, and we'd love to have you there. And I will see you all in the next episode.